And actually, I think wasn't really what I had in mind, but it's kind of working for me, so I think we're going to hang with it. And then I'm going to grab my last one, bring it over. And now I'm a little undecided whether I want to arc this the other way, back over here, or whether I want to arc it the other way and bring it up here. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with this yet. But at any rate, we're going to play around until we're happy. You want to be sure you're grabbing somewhere around these control points. Takes a little getting used to. Not sure if I like that or not. Yeah, I don't love it. So we're going to move it over a little bit. I'm going to hit Control T. Bring this up a little. And we'll grab our warp tool again. And we can make that work, I think. So we'll grab our brush now. Enlarge it up here a little bit. And we're just going to fill in down here. I can go right down, take the bottom of the brush right at the bottom of this edge, click, hold shift, and bring it across. Just work that into a nice, relatively flat line. And that's not the worst thing ever. We could do better if we spent a little time on it, but we're not too bad. So now we're going to hit Control E, and we're going to take these all down. We're going to lock our pixels. We're going to shrink our brush back down. And this is where you can get a little bit neater result, but it is harder than the way we did it. I'm going to make my brush pretty small, down around 6. Now, we can just start to draw in lines on our locked pixel. Nope, I don't like that. 6 is still too big. Get that around 3. And we don't have to be overly exact here. We can connect lines, we can do whatever we want. We're allowed, we're artists, we can do whatever we want. And because Bark isn't overly perfect, it won't matter. And we've locked our pixels, so we can't really go off the paper. Maybe we'll make something like that. And we end up with kind of a tree bark. And if we back that out, and this is important to do, back this way out, because what we're looking at is kind of like up here in our navigator. We want to see this silhouette from a ways away. So that's not too bad. I am noticing that my one branch is really thin though. So we're going to hit Control T again. And we're going to grab our warp tool again. I'm going to do my darndest to stretch that out a little bit. That'll get us a little bit. We can try another trick too. We could try hitting Control J and making a copy. And then using our arrow keys just to arrow that over. And I think we might actually get away with that. So we're going to hit Control E, blend those two together again. And then we're going to bring our brush back up. We're just going to fix up our lines a little bit. We don't have to be too glorious about this. So if lines run together, it really doesn't matter. I am noticing though, if this one was so thin, if we zoom in, we've got some transparency showing through there. So I'm going to hit Alt, sample this, bring my brush up a little. Well, I should hit Alt and actually sample the light brown. I'm going to have to unlock my layer since it's already blended. Just color that back in. We can relock, and we can re-sample our dark color. Bring our brush down. Just touch this up. It really doesn't matter too much. And Control minus to zoom that back out. And I think we can live with that. Alright, now, well, once again, we're going to add a border to this. We're going to unlock it so we don't get that funny bleed, or lack of bleed, I should say. Make sure we got black going again. And there we go, we can live with that. Now, this is where the super happy fun times happen. I'm going to bring our trunk down here just so we can see for now. It's going to be right where it was once we're done. I'm going to bring our brush back up. We want it a little bit smaller than these, the circles we had going. We're going to make sure we get a soft brush. And we're going to go back to our lovely, lovely dodge and burn. So we've got our dodge tool, so that's fine. We'll start right there. Of course, we have to actually select the dodge tool. And then we also have to select the leaf layer. I'm really doing it good today. There we go. I'm going to click a few times just to start bringing that out. This is just single click movement. And once again, since we've decided our light source is coming from up here, I'm going to make sure the light's on this side. And we're also going to make it brightest. The closer we get to that corner. So right around here is going to be our very brightest. Now we're going to switch over to our dodge tool. And we're going to bit. We can start out just darkening this whole thing a little bit. We're using a soft brush, so it's going to tend to darken from the center out. Then we can just bring it down. Darken it over here a little. But I do kind of want to get those circular shapes, because that's going to help on that sense of depth. That's pretty good. And just like opposite of the light, kind of lower corner over here is going to be our darkest area. So we're not too bad right there. Now the only thing I don't like is I kind of wish my trunk was a little more centered. I'm going to bring that over with my arrow key and my move tool. Then I'm going to go back to my leaves. I'm going to hit Control T and my warp tool. And I'm just going to pull this in a little more. Make those circles not quite so perfect. That's pretty good. Alright, now we're going to make a copy of our leaf layer, Control J. Now we're going to move our trunk up on top of our main leaves. And then we're going to take our new layer, I'm going to hit Control T again, and you can warp it if you want. The first thing we're going to do is hold down Shift to keep it uniform, and we're just going to shrink this down. And something's gone terribly awry up here. I don't like that. That's okay. We'll come back and fix that in a little bit. We're just going to bring this over. And then we're going to hit Enter. And we're going to hit Control J to make another copy of that one. Just going to bring this over here. Maybe shrink that down a little bit. And that's fine. And now that we know these two are okay, I'm actually going to go back to this first one. I'm going to make another copy of that, Control J. Then I'm going to take my main leaves copy. I'm going to delete that. Oops, that wasn't the one I wanted to delete. So Control Alt Z to bring that back. What have I got going on here? There we go, leaves main. And we can right click, delete layer. Yes we do. Oh, what we did is in our tree trunk. Alright. So I'm just going to bring that back, go to my tree trunk, try and figure out exactly what I did wrong here. But we'll try erasing. And that seems to work pretty good. As we can't see, and if we happen to catch some branch, that's okay because we've hidden it. And that's not bad. Now I think I'm just going to do a little more touch-up. I think I'm actually going to come in here on my main leaves layer. I'm going to darken down these seams a little. And then I'm going to grab my dodge tool. Get a lot smaller here. And I'm going to keep with my hard brush, I think. just going to lighten that up a little more. Bring my exposure up a little bit. I don't do this too often, but leaves have a bit of a translucency and shine to them. Now, I talked about earlier having our midtones. This might be a case where we go to our highlights. We really work at pulling some of that out. Sure, I like that being so sharp, so I'm going to undo a few of those. Go back to my soft brush here. Just to give it a little more pop. When we back that out, see, we got a pretty good looking tree. Now, the only thing we have left to do, the same thing we just did for our leaves, we want to do to our trunk. So we're going to take our burn tool, and I tend to prefer to work with the burn tool first, bring in my darks. And with the burn tool, I tend to prefer to work with a bigger brush so I don't get any weird gradients going on. So I'm just going to take this side, darken that down a little. Then I'm going to grab my dodge tool, and I'm just going to bring that up a little bit. I'm working with highlights, which is working out okay, but you want to be careful with that. A lot of times you'd rather have that on midtones. Most of the time, in fact. But for this one, it's working out alright. And we might even drop that exposure. Just bring in a little bit of highlight over here. But most of this would be hidden by our leaves, so we don't want to get crazy with that. Oh, we take her back out. Voila, you have an awesome 2D tree for your game. Alright, that's going to do it for our trees. You can use whichever method you like, and including the first one I showed where you actually hand draw it and get a little bit more rough tree. If you're looking for a hero type tree, that'll take a little more work, but it will give you a better result if you want something that's really gnarled and pretty. But at any rate, next we're going to move on to creating our blocks that we're going to build our level with of earth, and how we can create some different kinds of grass pretty easily to do what we want to do to make our level look great. So I'll see you in that next video.